Angie Nixon giving a master class on media mentioning you?
So I have not campaigned with Mr. Piker. Not sure where that information came from. I have campaigned with Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, and so she is someone who wants the same things that I want, to make sure that government is working for people and not against it. And so I'll continue to do the same thing. But I have not campaigned with Mr. Piker at all. Not sure where that came from.
All right, my apologies. I thought that you had. My apologies about that. Would you want him to campaign with you?
I don't really know who Mr. Piker is. I've heard about him, and so
you don't know who he is?
I said I don't really know who he is personally or anything like that. I am actually focused on Florida and making sure that I'm talking to voters here to uplift their needs and their concerns, and so that's what my focus is going to be over the next.
Don't know Angie Nixon at all. Don't know her at all. Love her. It is pretty wild that the media's obsession with me has gotten to this like alarming degree where they're like, what do you mean you don't know who Hasan Piker is? It's like, I don't know. Why should she? Why should every single person know exactly who I am? Also, what's the problem? It's because Chomp the Oligarchy tour got falsely reported on that you were there. I think that's why they were saying it. Yeah, I didn't go to that rally. I wasn't there at that rally. And it's very strange that they're making it seem like I was there at that rally. Not that it matters, you know, one way or another. Stay away from Florida, please, Hasan. Endorse the Republican, please. Okay, here. I'm going to start. First of all, I'm going to start banning people who say bullshit like that. Okay? I'm going to start permitting people that say dumb bullshit like that because you're undermining your own cause. Okay? You're undermining your own cause, you idiot. I am you. I am your megaphone. You don't have to hand the oppositional framing a W here. Okay? There's jokes, but then there's also like people who sincerely think that like our community's involvement in any race is a burden. Are we now taking the MS Now, CNN, Fox News framing? Is that what we're doing? Are you stupid? Do you not understand that you're just caving to their narrative at that point? Okay? What every Democrat and former Democrat and socialist who is a former liberal always has the same brain disease. Constant concession to oppositional framing. A lot of you unfortunately have that exact same brain disease. It sucks. You need to shed yourself of this mentality. Okay? There's a difference between someone like myself and Bernie Sanders and AOC. I get to be bold in places where they can't. Okay? Because I'm not running for office. These things work side by side with one another. But if you guys also end up, even in this community, if you guys also end up taking the oppositional framing and say, oh, it's a burden, our policies are a burden on these campaigns, our movement is a burden on the big, beautiful, progressive wing of the Democratic Party, then all of a sudden we're not only just an electoral vehicle that is doing PR work for the Democratic Party, but we're also moving away from our positions. No one is running away from our policies. No one is running away from our positions. Okay? Just because folks who are attacking us on the right and in the center and trying to rid our influence from the main stage does not mean that it's correct, and it certainly doesn't mean you should take that narrative on. Don't ever do that. Our policies are incredibly popular. This platform will remain, not just the policy, but on the media side, we will still be an incubator for more quote-unquote radical policies, more quote-unquote radical campaigns. This will still remain a bastion of the left. Wisen up. We're fighting against the status quo. We're fighting against very powerful forces in this country. For many years, I think people said, oh, corporate influence is so toxic. Corporate influence is so subversive. And then you're faced with a little bit of pushback. You're faced with a little bit of pushback, and all of a sudden, you shy away, you back away. You're faced with a little bit of pushback, and you immediately take the oppositional framing. Yeah, I saw it, Themasius. I know. Anyway, stunning Nixon upset, primary wins and losses, Dearborn racist rally, Moskowitz is nuts, American doctor interview, straight still closed. Get in now. Look, I've talked to a lot of people who have been in the crosshairs in a similar manner in positions of tremendous power and influence, a lot higher than I've ever been able to achieve. This is basically about more than half this chat. Oh, the one on the, we have the majority position as a community. We should never be afraid to lean into it. Yeah. Yeah, like, dude, if you guys in this community are eating that propaganda, then how is the expectation that how's the expectation that politicians will remain brave or bold when it comes to their advocacy? If you guys literally are like, well, Hasan is far too odious of a figure, sorry, sucks to suck, and you literally tune in every day, you've basically caved to the framing that we are Nick Fuentes. Like, you might as well run around and join the opposition team. You might as well quit watching this broadcast and go back to MS Now. Like, there's a reason for why. There's a reason for why they're doing this. Do you think it's a accident that it's every Israel first politician and every Israel first news network? Every news network that's unbelievably favorable to Israel in their coverage, or rather very sympathetic to Zionism because of, a couple executives or a couple producers. Those are the ones who have participated in this intimidation campaign. There's three major reasons here. I'm going to read you the assessment. Okay? I'm going to read you the assessment. There's three reasons. Okay? Number one is intimidation. It's not going to work. Okay? Number two is to try and get others to shun me, to defang this platform, to make this platform seem as far too toxic for candidates to approach. Because basically what they're saying is, if you go on this campaign, if you go on this media platform, if you go on this medium at all, we are going to make your life a living hell. We are going to attack you. Fox News is going to attack you. CNN is going to constantly harass you with questions. They are going to, they're going to bully you. They're going to badger you. Okay? And the second part doesn't necessarily work. It's not as effective. Okay? It's not as effective. But that's precisely the reason why I'm saying, like, don't ever lean into that idiotic framing. Okay? That's ridiculous. And then the last one, I guess, is to make it seem as though it's politically disadvantageous to have our policies, to maintain our policies. We've already won a very important victory with Abdul El-Sayed. We've already won a very important victory with Abdul El-Sayed in the primaries. 12-1 didn't work. The policies were sound, and he was outspent 12-1, and it didn't work. And objectively, the barrage of attention on his race ended up highlighting his policies, ended up showing his position, right? Ended up proving that he had the background as a fighter, and now he's consolidating the base. But you should never in a million years lean into that same framework and be like, just stay the fuck away from Florida. Okay, stay the fuck away from Florida, dog. Stay the fuck away. Dog, we went in to the most right-wing, one of the most right-wing districts in the country that was recently redistricted. One of the most right-wing districts in the country that was recently redistricted to be even more right-wing. At the time of its redistricting, Florida 25 turned into a +9 district. Now it's leaning at +4 Republican. It was +9. It was designed for that reason. And we went in there with an unknown entity by the name of Oliver Larkin, a man who had held no prior office, a young man who was bold and had a vision. And he was able to carve out almost 40% of the vote in that district. It is incredible. It is an incredible victory. Are you kidding me? We're talking about not just any district in Florida. We're talking about one of the worst districts for a Democratic Socialist to run in Florida, to operate in Florida. Okay? He got a higher percentage in that district than Bernie Sanders did. Open Socialists getting 44% of the vote in Miami. Honestly, shout out to the Dem primary voters. Bernie Sanders got 24% in Miami-Dade in 2016. Okay? Do you understand how spectacular this is? Now, centrist Democrats will run around and talk about how impressive a victory it was for the incumbent, Jared Moskowitz, in a district that is probably one of the most pro-Israel districts in the country, running against an unknown entity who had held zero prior office before this run, whose entire campaign was exclusively anchored by this community and other independent media outlets, primarily this community and communities like this one, right? Like Twitch streamers. Are you kidding me? It is a testament to the success of this platform. It is a testament to the success and popularity of our ground game. The very fact that centrist Democrats are celebrating Jared Moskowitz's victory as though this is, the days of the Democratic Tea Party are over. What's next? Are Republicans going to be excited that they're winning in Alabama? What are we talking about? These are the dying gasps of a movement that refuses to change, a movement that has no vision. Bernie Sanders lost as well. What I don't understand is you said yourself yesterday you want to stay away from Angie Nixon as possible to avoid association. Why would you want to do that if you don't think you could hurt her? Did you mean there's something wrong with her? /Jen? No. I also said if my services are required, and who knows what the dynamic might turn into, then I'll be there no matter what. Okay? Sometimes I don't talk about everything that's going on. Okay, especially because there's a lot of attention on this platform, a lot of negative attention on this platform, a lot of people who are lurking in the shadows, waiting for any opportunity to clip and design their own narratives. There's a difference, however. There's a difference between conceding on that right-wing framing that our involvement in any way, shape, or form is negative in a state like Florida is bullshit. I'm showing you that it's not irrelevant. I'm showing you right here that it's not irrelevant. But it's always a calculation. It's up to the campaign. It's up to the policies. It's up to the base and how receptive the base is, right? It's up to how receptive the base is. Something that works in Denver, Colorado, or Colorado statewide, or Michigan statewide might not work in Florida, especially with the current attitude in Florida, especially with the current demographic makeup of Florida or the voters in the state of Florida. Obviously, we're not delusional. I saw something that Matt Iglesias was saying where they're like, well, why aren't people saying here? This is what he said. Look, so how come nobody, including the most enthusiastic leftists on the site, think the DSA nominee for Florida senator is going to teach all the establishment losers how to win elections? Are you mad that we're much more realistic about electoral performance than you paint us as? Your theory is that there is a great groundswell of left-wing feeling hiding in the non-voting population, is it not? We're also not delusional about the barrage of attacks that candidates with these policies are going to receive. The theory is simple. Establishment Democrats that have moneyed backing, try to open up a line of defense, okay? They are basically the bulwark against the unlimited attacks that our campaigns will receive. And we bring the low propensity voters. It works hand in hand. We bring in the low propensity voters who in this attention economy normally don't participate in elections at all. Me in particular, this community in particular, brings in the under 45 investment, the under 45 participation. Okay. And then in the general, we bring in the low propensity voters. And the establishment Democrats are supposed to just basically open up their wallets and not attack the candidates and play the role of consolidating support behind the candidates. That is the theory of success. A world where Bernie makes it out of the 2016 primary and the establishment Democrat consolidates support around him. Okay? The establishment Democrats consolidate support around him, and then he's capable of activating and priming the populist rage voters, the low propensity voters, and the Democrats bring the rest with the machine politics. That's why the Abdullah Sayed race is a major test. There's some good information coming out of that one right now. Mike explained that your main jobs are to sit and boost insurgents who need your help to get an easy 50 to 100K to start hiring people, rent out a headquarters, etc. People think you hound politicians, but it's the other way around. Yeah, people are very stupid. People are very, very stupid. And what they don't understand about this, people are very dumb. They don't realize that I'm not the one going around begging politicians to play a role in their campaigns. It's the opposite. I don't give a shit about working with politicians. I don't work with many politicians who come to me. The only reason why I do it is because I think it's worth it. But no matter how many times I explain this, these guys think like, no, you're getting clouded by being next to politicians. Like, no, I'm not. I'm not. It doesn't help me at all. It only frustrates people in positions of power. Okay? It only makes people in positions of power very mad. And it forces that, it causes them to come after me, my family, constantly lying about me. Who wants that? Create an environment of intimidation and coordinated outrage manufacturing, coordinated harassment. You think I want people to think that I'm like a dangerous anti-American radical terrorist or whatever the fuck? You think I like seeing videos like the ones that we're going to be talking about later from Dearborn, Michigan, where you have a straight up white nationalist going to the Dearborn, Michigan Council or town hall and saying Hasan wants to impregnate white women. We have to kill these people. You think I like hearing that? You think I like seeing how viral those clips are? You think Zionists don't know what they're doing when they lean into these anger campaigns to try to activate some of the most schizophrenic Republicans in the country to go do their bidding, to come and try and assassinate me? You think they don't know what they're doing? You think Zionists don't know what they're doing when they foment Islamophobia? Of course they know what they're doing. Of course they know what they're doing. It's not like they're hiding it. They say it out loud. They say it out loud. Here is one example of this. Diaspora Affairs Minister saying out loud that their new strategy is to no longer appeal to concerns of anti-Semitism, but to go all in with the European and American right on Islamophobia. Here is Israeli Diaspora Minister Amichai Chikli. Anti-Semitism does not interest the average European or the average American. Radical Islam interests them very much, very, very much, and therefore we need to take advantage of that.
עם האגף השמרני האמריקאי והאירופי, נגד האסלאם הקיצוני ונגד האחים המוסלמים. זה צריך להיות האסטרטגיה. כי כאן יש לנו בעצם בסיס משותף, הוא לא לבוא ולומר כמה חשוב.
By the way, this isn't new. Dropsite reported on this already months ago. I covered it. I didn't predict this. I covered what was happening because I was one of its victims, one of its earliest victims. I've been experiencing this nonsense for like the last 3 years at this point. Do you understand? They know they can't make people love Israel. But what they can do is make its critics out to be Islamic jihadists. Make Israel's critics out to be fifth column style Islamic infiltrators and try to tar and feather or try to connect, because like there are a lot of obviously Arabs, there are a lot of Arab Christians as well, and a lot of people in the pro-Palestine movement that are Muslim. And these countries the Western world broadly is still very Islamophobic. So what they're trying to do now is make it seem like every single person that cares about Gaza or wants to use our tax dollars here, okay, all of those people are actually dangerous, scary terrorists that want to do Sharia law. That's it. Do you think you're at the height of your political capital? No, absolutely not. We've got a long way to go. We're just beginning. We're just getting started, chat. What are you talking about? I mean, the Abdul al-Sayed race is a perfect depiction of this, a perfect demonstration of exactly what I'm talking about, okay? The Abdul al-Sayed race is a perfect demonstration. It ties back to what Jared Moskowitz is trying to do as well, though. And we'll talk about it. I can't imagine this is going to make people positive of Israel. No, it's just making Americans more hateful overall. They'll just be anti-Semitic and Islamophobic. Yes, you're absolutely correct. But I think from their perspective, yes, the Hind Rajab thing is on my radar. I know. From the perspective of Israel, at least like this kind of division, this kind of chaos in American society broadly will be beneficial. This kind of chaos and this kind of deflection away moves the attention away from Israel and back to the scary, dangerous Muslims that are trying to implement Sharia law or whatever the fuck, right? And Michael LaRosa is doing it. I mean, he's like literally a foreign agent for, I think, Dubai. This is a lobbyist firm that he works for that's a Trump bundler backed by, I mean, the guy who he works for is a major Trump bundler, right? Like a donor for MAGA, right-wing donor. And the firm is actually hired by Dubai and Libya, if I'm not mistaken. So he's like a registered foreign agent. And of course, if he's like a UAE foreign lobbyist, like you might as well chalk that up as a registered foreign agent for Israel all the same. Because UAE's influence operations are directly in line with Israel's influence operations. UAE is actually responsible for a big chunk of the Islamophobia that happens in the Western world. Tommy Robinson in the UK is a major UAE-backed firebrand, right? Like Tommy Robinson, the anti-Islam white nationalist. This is also, this has been reported in the past. UAE is a proxy for Israel. Yes, absolutely. Check logs. Case in point, Tommy Robinson shouting him out. Yeah, Robinson wished Chikli success. Amichai Chikli. Controversial far-right figure Tommy Robinson has sent a video message of support to the Israeli minister Amichai Chikli ahead of a Likud election. Robinson wished Chikli success and referred to him as his dear friend. Robinson praised Chikli for what he described as his understanding of the problems the West faces, calling for Western patriots to unite in defense of Western civilization. In recent years, Robinson has been accused of having strong ties with Israel, with critics referring to him as Tel Aviv Tommy. Some critics have also alleged that Robinson acts as an Israeli asset, while reports have shown that pro-Israel organizations have helped fund his legal costs. So, not everyone who supports Israel is Islamophobic, but most people, not every Islamophobe supports Israel, okay? But everyone who supports Israel is Islamophobic. So, that's definitely a thing that's happening. And obviously, we have to cover it from we have to cover it because it's going to have, it's currently having some kind of electoral impact. Here's another version of this. Matthew Cassell from Jewish Insider reports, Michigan Jewish leaders are circulating an open letter urging Jewish Democrats in the state to sign their names in support of Mike Rogers over Abdul al-Sayed for Senate. The letter is read by Eric Bronstein, a Detroit Jewish leader and businessman, among others. Michigan Jews Against Extremism. The idea that Mike Rogers is not the extremist in this race, and it's actually Abdul al-Sayed that is the extremist in this race, is straight up racist. Okay? I'm sorry. I've said this over and over again. The danger to American Jews does not come from Muslims. It comes from white nationalists. And American Jews that think that they can align with white nationalists, with right-wingers in general, are actually really having a chickens for KFC moment. I understand that for many older American Jews, Israel has a very special place in their heart, and they feel as though Israel is under attack, and they feel as though a lot of these attacks are coming from a place of anti-Semitism, right? But you have to give up on your emotional support apartheid state. These people that you think you are aligning with are going to send you to the same concentration camps that we get sent to first. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. American Jews are racist. Who cares what they think about anti-Zionists? Dude. This is not a beneficial mode of communication, okay? Just across the board saying American Jews are one way is ridiculous, okay? It's ridiculous. You're literally leaning into it. You're leaning into this narrative. No one is monolithic. White people are not monolithic. Jews are not monolithic. No group is monolithic. Of course, statements like this lead people into believing that American Jews are monolithic. And that's why statements like this are up and dangerous. And I won't stop advocating for my values. I won't stop combating anti-Semitism as well as every other form of bigotry, even if every Jewish institution in the country comes out and says, Hasan Piker is our biggest threat. Okay? And we're pretty much there at this point, with the exception of like Jewish Voice for Peace and other anti-Zionist Jewish institutions. Virtually every Jewish institution in the country at this point has yelled about me being an ever-present danger. I have not shied away from expressing my opinion of the toxic and incorrect nature of anti-Semitism, regardless, because my values are my values, irrespective to what Zionist institutions are presenting themselves as. I don't do it for ass covering. Many people falsely assume that I'm doing it for ass covering. Oh, I'm paying the piper. I have to say this stuff. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I say. They treat me as though I'm a dangerous anti-Semite nonetheless. If anything, they treat me as a more toxic figure because of my uncompromising anti-Zionist position and my uncompromising position against anti-Semitism. In any case, Michigan Jews against extremism. We are Michigan citizens and voters. We are Democrats and independents. We are proud American Jews. We care about the safety of our community, the health of our political discourse, and the future of our country. We declare our intent to vote for Mike Rogers in the U.S. Senate in 2026. Many of us have been fiercely supportive of Democratic candidates and principles. All of us have felt threatened and alienated by the politics and allies embraced by Abdul al-Sayed, which has included demonization of Jews, equivocation on terrorism, exclusion of Jewish Americans from public life, and expression of implacable hatred of the world's only Jewish nation. We believe these core messages of his candidacy are bad for the Democratic Party, harmful to the safe and thriving Jewish community in Michigan, and detrimental to the future of the country. If al-Sayed were to win the general election in this important swing state, implacable, sorry. I just don't understand what service this provides. Like, what purpose is this serving? Other than making members of the Jewish community in Michigan actually hysterical. Because if you think Abdul al-Sayed is an anti-Semite, you're hysterical. One of the first backers of Abdul al-Sayed was Andy Levin, the president of his own synagogue, a proud Michigan Jew. That was one of his first backers. Levin, sorry. Abdul al-Sayed is backed by many Jewish Michiganders. Abdul al-Sayed has never demonstrated any hatred to any group. Certainly not Jews. Certainly not anybody else. What's insane about this is all you're doing is freaking out. Placate is the root word for implacable. Has nearly the same pronunciation. Thank you. This is just self-induced diaspora syndrome, rejecting all of your personal political values to defend reactionary nationalism. something we are all familiar with, but in this case, you're not even diaspora to the state anyway. Yeah, no, that's it. That's it. If El Sayed were to win the general election in this important swing state, we fear the far left and anti-Jewish elements within the Democratic Party would become dominant, including the imminent 2028 presidential race. We cannot allow him to become the Democratic standard bearer or Michigan senator. We know Mike Rogers served ably in the House of Representatives in his early career in the military, national security, and law enforcement. He has been and will be a friend to the Jewish community. Our vote for Mike Rogers does not require that we agree with him on every issue or that we support President Trump. Yes, it does, by the way. Yes, it does. It 100% does. You're saying that you don't want someone who is critical of Israel, who literally abides by the overwhelming majority position on Israel, to be the deciding vote on the Democratic Senate majority to create an environment of accountability, just a little bit of legislative accountability on the current president, the current fascist president, because you're worried about its considerations for 2028 with American Democrats and their relationship with the state of Israel that has done a genocide, that's maintaining an apartheid. It is one of the most toxic forms of nationalism that I have ever seen. I don't think this is indicative of the broader attitude of Michigan Jews, okay? I don't think this is correct. But the media will go to some of the community leaders and make it seem as though every Democratic voter who is Jewish in Michigan now is terrified of Abdullah Sayed. They did this with Zohran Mamdani. It wasn't the case in New York City, and it will not be the case in Michigan either. It's not even American nationalism, which is crazy. No, that's what's insane about it. It's Israeli nationalism that is leaning into American nationalism. Have you learned nothing? Look, I know my name is Hasan. I am, the number one scary force in American politics for American Jews is what you've seen in your media, what you've heard. But do you not recognize what dangerous forces you're playing with when you lean into American fascism? You think if you're Jewish and you're worried about another Holocaust happening, what do you think is the higher likelihood of another Holocaust potentially happening? American fascism that you're leaning into, or restricting Israel from continuing to do fascism? Insane. Wake the fuck up. Acting as though Mike Rogers is not the radical one here, but Abdullah Sayed is a betrayal. Is a betrayal of thousands of years of Jewish history. It's a betrayal of the revolutionary history that has been a formative part of Jewish history from its beginning. Ridiculous. It blows my mind that the last 100 years of Zionism has almost entirely eroded thousands of years of shared Jewish history. It blows my fucking mind. I cannot understand it. Here in Michigan this year and in this Senate race, our well-being and our own voices are at stake. This is a moment when each of us must speak out. We're voting for Mike Rogers. We ask other Michigan Jews to vote with us, to join us. They are fascist, Jewish or not. Doesn't matter if they support a fascist state committing a genocide. They're fascist. I know. But this also betrays the immediate self-interest that American Jews have. If their immediate self-interest revolves around self-preservation, they're making the wrong decision here regardless. Jewish socialists help build multiracial democracy in America, man. What the fuck are we doing? I don't know exactly where this switch flipped, but there's a reason why people like Nick Fuentes, who are well-read neo-Nazis, will regularly talk in the exact same way that Adolf Hitler did about a diverse society and how Jews played a formative role in it. Okay? That's why I talk about PEP, Progressive Except for Palestine, and how much American Jews have played an important role in all aspects of labor struggle, in all aspects of the civil rights struggle. Jewish socialists were instrumental in destroying the apartheid in South Africa, many of which are still alive. They're still around. What are we doing? These are very well-read, very influential, and oftentimes very wealthy individuals who are saying completely unhinged shit. It doesn't make any sense. You know better. You know better. You know better than to entertain these dangerous forces. That's crazy. It blows my mind how much the toxicity of Zionism has eroded even the self-preservation instinct of American Jews that lean into things like this, that lean into dangerous forces like this. It doesn't make any sense. Sometimes ethnic identity trumps over other values. You saw a decades-long alliance amongst Jewish and black New Yorkers in the civil rights movement completely collapse into animosity after the Crown Heights riot. We like to think we're above tribalism, but we aren't. I just think that, like, I just think you have to have higher principles, you know? You have to have higher values. It makes me sad when I watch my Jewish family members turn to reactionary beliefs, the progenitors of which do not have the best interest of Jewish safety at heart, no matter how much of a mirage they present. We saw with Ben Shapiro's and Coulter dismissiveness. John Podhoretz's Trump can say Shylock 100 times. He bombed Iran bullshit. Exactly. Exactly. If there's one lesson to learn from Nazi Germany and the Holocaust, it's the fact that you cannot align with fascists because fascists are inevitably going to say you're a part of the outgroup. Jews have literally historically been this force in every single society that's collapsing. In every instance of economic volatility, who do the forces that control society turn to and shift the blame to? A minority population that has a lot of money. It's always been the Jews. You think that you can continue with this allegiance? Are you stupid? Right now it's Muslims. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Muslims are the outgroup right now, but Jews will inevitably be the outgroup as well. So it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's kind of the whole point of building a multiracial, diverse society that exists harmoniously. That's the whole point. You think that you think that these guys won't eventually go, hey, you know what? You guys have a lot of money. You're a relatively small population. You have a lot of money. You have a lot of influence. We've now decided that your influence is negative. You think that same tribalistic force that you're leaning into right now is not going to eventually put the crosshairs on you? Are you stupid? It's going to happen. It's already beginning to happen. I mean, look at James Fishback. James Fishback ran on the Holocaust might have not happened, but if it happened, it's good ticket, you know? And he got 10% of the vote in the Florida gubernatorial primaries for the Republican Party. The same forces that are putting the crosshairs, oftentimes, by the way, directed by Israel as well, the same forces that are fomenting Islamophobia are eventually going to come for you too. Okay? They are. It shouldn't get to that point for you to recognize that this is a dangerous movement that you are leaning into.